Subscribe Squad, it's another day, it's another dollar, and it's time for another freaking interview. And this time we are talking to producer, rapper extraordinaire, Lucky Boy. Say what's up to the people.
What's going on, everybody? What's going on? Thank you for having me up here. Appreciate it.
Thank you for joining me. Thank you. And so we're just going to hop right into it. What I ask everybody as the first question is, when did you fall in love with music?
I don't know if it was, I guess I want to answer that by saying what or, yeah, well, I fell in love with music like fifth grade, fifth grade, I would say, but it was because of my brother. So I kind of fell in love with making music before I fell in love with like listening to music or anything like that. So yeah, I started off playing like the saxophone in fourth grade, and that was pretty much the beginning of it right there. Yeah, so it's been a long ass time.
So you went from saxophone to then turn around being an artist and producer. What happened first? Did you start off, making your own music first, or did you start off producing? Like, what happened?
So the timeline basically is in fourth grade. I started playing the saxophone in like the school band, nerd life, and then fifth grade I started like, it's because of my brother. My brother was writing songs and like gaining popularity in his school and stuff by doing it. So I wanted to try it too. So I got a little tape recorder and started like singing songs and do a tape recorder, showing it to people at school, getting laughed at lunch tables and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, all right, cool. And then in sixth grade, I started actually making beats and stuff because my music teacher actually was able to introduce me to like the software that I use and all things like that. So that was pretty much the timeline there, how it all came about. And I started recording songs to those beats. So.
Okay, so at what point were you like, okay, now I'm doing this, you know what I'm saying? Because you said it was initially it was like you wanted to be the cool kid in school. So when did it go from I want to be the cool kid in school to like, no, this is what I'm going to do as my career?
That was a while before that happened, because a lot of songs I was making, like at first I was trying to be too serious, like because during that time like G-Unit was hot, Dipset was hot, Shady Aftermath was hot, and they all talked about like drugs and killing people and hoes and stuff like that. So I was like, yeah, that's what I'm gonna rap about too. So then eventually I was like, no, this isn't cool, I'm gonna stop doing this. And then I started making funny songs just for fun with my friends, like making funny music. And then man, it was probably right around like when I got out of high school. I like really sat down with my friend who ended up being like kind of like a sort of best friend manager sort of to me. And I just sat down with him and I was like, yo, I actually want to take this serious now. And I want to take this serious. That might have been like 2012, 2013, maybe something like that. And I still remember that night and having that conversation. And that's pretty much when everything changed right there, because he's a songwriter himself, like in the music industry. So he takes it like really serious. So he was the right guy to go to talk about these type of things. But yeah, that was pretty much how that happened. I'm glad I started taking it serious now, because it's worked out, or it's starting to work out now. So yeah.
I think it's definitely working out now. Like, yeah. I think we can closely saying it's working out.
Like, from the outside view, I can see that, but I know on the inside, like, I don't want to settle for where I am right now. I can make a living doing off what I'm doing right now, but I want more than that, So
I agree.
That's basically where I stand.
These things in due time. Well, if you guys don't know, he's done songs with just about everybody within the YouTube community. So we'll talk about some of your collaborations and who you work with in a second. But for right now, I just want to get your opinion about, like, what do you feel about the YouTube community, specifically hip hop and rap within the YouTube community? And what do you feel like are the positives in the community and then not so positives?
So yeah, I could just I guess the positives and the negatives are kind of my outlook. So I'll just dive right into that. Like, the positives is definitely the camaraderie between like the creators and the fans too. Just there's like a close connection between everybody. It feels like, so that's pretty cool to see. Like you, like all you had to do is just DM me, like that simple to get on an interview, and you know, we had to reschedule a couple times, but that's because I'm irresponsible. But anyways, that worked out. So, but yeah, stuff like that, like the connection between everybody is pretty good, and I think everybody challenges each other, maybe even subconsciously, maybe not directly, but challenges each other to get better every time. I think there's a decent amount of honesty within the community of people who are honest with each other about how they feel about each other's music and stuff like that. So I think that goes a long way. Um, but the negatives is definitely that it's really nichey right now, and I say that in terms of like, you know, it's funny. It's like a predominantly male audience on the YouTube community, and it's like a lot of people want to service that type of audience with a specific type of music, like the very lyrical music, and not so much the catchy bops that you hear like on the radio and stuff like that and play in the clubs. And I think that's a huge negative. I think the community needs to expand a little bit more and be a little bit more open-minded to making, you know, that popular style of music, which is fun to make, and it's still good music. Just because it's not like rapping fast and super lyrical and stuff like that doesn't mean it's not good. So I think people are starting to get it a little bit, but we definitely need more like females in the audience, and in the artist sides too. Like you kind of stand out just from being a female alone, like which is crazy because, you know, there's female rappers. There's a lot of female rappers, but in the YouTube community, they're hard to find.
It's like you can count on one hand. And so I don't know if you saw
Yeah.
like my reaction to the YouTube Volume 3 cipher, right? And so a lot of people felt
Mm-hmm.
like I was criticizing Crypt, and that's just not what it was at all. Like I feel
Mm-hmm.
like Crypt has one of the hardest jobs in the world of putting these ciphers together, right? And so my
Mm-hmm.
criticism, I don't even say it's a criticism. I say more so of an opinion about the industry in general, was just that as a female MC or a female artist, it seems that the artists that land on the biggest platforms tend to fit like a certain demographic, specifically female rappers, whether it's like an overly sexualized image, whether it's the quote unquote perceived as lesbian dominant in like image. Like you could think of it when you think of female rapper, you have a definition that pops in your head. And so me, because I don't fit that definition, and I'm proud of the fact that I don't really fit that definition in that lane. Like my
Mm-hmm.
whole thing is about bringing diversity to whether it's the YouTube platform or the industry in general. So my whole thing is like, I just, for me on YouTube Volume Cypher 3, I just always say like, why does it always have to be just one female? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Why can't we just like, even for me, if it was like two females, I don't care if it's me or not me. I think it should have been me, but like, why
Mm-hmm.
can't we just show a diversity of what it is to be a female rapper? Why does it have to look a certain way, sound a certain way? Like, why can't it be that? And so that's my goal of like what I'm trying to bring to the YouTube community and to the platform. And I say overwhelmingly, like the artists have been welcoming. Like Crypt hopped on my album. We did a song and music video together. It's called My Time Now. And
Mm-hmm.
so like to bring that up, it is very nichey in the sense of there's like a certain sound, taste, and look of what people quote unquote have for like a YouTube rapper, right? Like
Yeah. It kind of just naturally ended up being that way though. Like I don't, and I guess all of this is pretty new on the YouTube platform, like having like a little music camaraderie in general, because I wasn't into any of this. Like the first YouTube rapper that I heard was like Rice Gum in 2017. And I was like, whoa, people are rapping on YouTube. Like I didn't even know about that, because everything else I was doing before that was like promoting myself at colleges and like doing stuff like, I don't know, just not nothing that had to do with YouTube. All music stuff that has nothing to do with YouTube. So that was kind of like the side of things that I knew, and I was trying to get like placements and like, you know, big like artists, like producing for big artists and stuff like that. Like I was working on those goals and things like that. So like when I came here and saw what was going on, I was like, oh, this is cool. You know what I mean? Then late 2018, I found out about Crypt, and I found out about Dax, Quadeca, like all these guys just from reacting and seeing that they were popping, and I was like, oh, let me just check this out. Like, and I was like, wow, there's actually good artists on YouTube. So for me, that's when I found out about everything. So it's been like less than 2 years that I've even really been involved in all this. So maybe it's going to take time for, you know, the diversity to really start shining through here on the platform. But maybe we just need more leaders. Maybe, you know, need more females that are leaders. More, I think even, you know, I don't want to get too racy, but you know, it's a lot of white rappers on YouTube too, and you know, it's not a bad thing or a good thing. It just is what it is. So I mean, you know, we need more like black YouTubers taking a role, more Hispanic YouTubers taking a role. Like, it, you know, like need more leaders. Kind of, I know I work with Crypt all the time and everything, but he's being a leader in what he's doing. You know what I mean? So I think we need more people that will take that role and bring their friends in, bring people that they think is dope in stuff. Do your own ciphers, you know what I mean? Like stuff like that, and that'll get the ball rolling. Because if you're only relying on one person who's, you know, he, like you said, he busts his ass to do what he has to do, and it's hard to choose people because every time he chooses somebody, he knows that somebody he didn't choose.
Somebody
Exactly.
pissed off.
Exactly. And that's hip hop. You know what I mean? That it should be that way. But at the same time, like, yeah, that's my take, I guess, on the whole
I
thing.
feel
And
like,
I never really think about stuff like this, but you got my mind going now.
well, good. I'm glad. That's what I'm here for. I feel like you know, opinions are buttholes. Everybody's gonna have one, and I think we're all entitled to our opinion. But at the same time, like even if you look at today's society, like for me, what's going on with George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery and so many others, we could all have our opinions about, you know, what should take place. But now I feel like we're in the place of action. So like, what are you going to do about it? And so it's like, all right. So for me, it's like, okay, I made that suggestion about let's have something that's more female diverse. Like maybe I should do my own like female cipher and like incorporate men or something like that. Like maybe flip it on its head. Like I think there's a possibility. Now people will say devil's advocate. People will say, well, Crib has the biggest platform when it comes to the YouTube ciphers, but he didn't always have that. So it's like somebody has to take the chance of being like, yo, this is what I'm gonna do. This is how I'm gonna pull it off. Boom, I'm coming this way. And so I think if more people do that, it'd be great. One of the benefits of what I've seen though within the community is people, you know, willing to hop on each other's songs, because I think there's just this relatability of like starting from like a point of like everybody kind of started from nothing. So I think that whole reach back, you know what I'm saying, and helping people, I feel like that's a dope aspect of the YouTube community. But speaking of segue,
Okay.
I want to know, like, who are some of your favorite people that you've either, you know, produced for or collab with, and why?
All right. Well, collab with, I'm probably gonna say Moxus. And I don't consider him a YouTube rapper because he doesn't make YouTube content. Therefore, I don't put him as a YouTube rapper. But yeah, I would say Moxus just because like I was lucky enough to actually do a song like in studio with him when I flew out to the West Coast last year or beginning of this year, whatever it was. But his energy is crazy. Like his energy is just, he'll get you excited about the song, but he'll be honest at the same time, whether he's feeling something or not. But when he's like into it, he's super into it, and his energy is very contagious. And he was just fun to work with. A little stressful. So when it came to like waiting to get the verse back from him and stuff like that, but I knew it was coming. All he had to do was send the email, and that took a little while. And there's more to that story, but other than that, man, his energy and like I don't know. I learned a lot from him, and his energy is contagious, and he was just really fun to work with. So definitely Moxus was the funnest to collab with. As far as producing, well, I guess because I produce a lot for Crypt, what he does actually is he challenges me. He has made me better at what I do because every time he tells me an idea for what he wants, in the back of my head, I'm always like, how the hell am I going to do that idea? And I always am like a little timid about it. But I've been able to pull it off for everything that he's asked to this point. And even if it was something I hadn't done before, I was able to pull it off in the time frame that he needed. So that's made me better. yeah, I mean, producing everybody I produce for, which really isn't that many people if you think about it. Like people look at me as like the YouTube community producer, like the producer. I think a lot of that is a subconscious thing, like a psychological game I play with people because I put music producer reacts in all my reaction videos and they see that in their timeline. And they're like, oh, Joey, music producer. Joey, music producer. He's the music producer. Like, but there's a lot of other good producers on this platform. But yeah, I can't really think of anybody else. I mean, I've produced for Screw. Like I made his Slime Shady beat. That was pretty fun to make something like that because that's one of the first hip hop songs that I knew about. I think when that song came out, the original Eminem song. But yeah, I can't think of many other people I produced for off the top of my head. But yeah, long
So
answer, but yeah.
yeah, I don't mind long answers. If you had to work with somebody you haven't worked with yet, and actually, no, we'll do this. So, like, it could be posthumous, or it could be somebody that's alive today that you would want to work with. Who would it be and why?
It's easily Meek Mill is because he's my favorite rapper,
Okay.
and yeah, his energy is crazy. Like when I used to have a sales job and I was like selling cars to try to fund my career a little bit more, I would always listen to him on the way there because he always talks about like hustling and getting money and stuff like that, and his energy is just fire. Now he talks about a lot of real stuff. He always has. He always has. But those songs are the what related to me most during those times. But he's one of the first rappers I ever saw live, which is pretty special. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I used to not like Meek Mill, but I don't know. Maybe it was when I started going to school and I would have to take I had to take the city bus for a long time doing that, and I would just sit there on the bus and listen to his music, and I remember those experiences and how I felt during that time, and it just I don't know, it just stuck with me. So whenever somebody asked my favorite artist or the artist that I would want to collab with, it'd be Meek Mill, and the other one would be Lil Dicky. And I don't even listen to him that much, but I feel like he's a goofball. I could be a goofball, and I feel like we're both pretty creative and innovative, and I feel like we could come up with something dope. So me, Meek Mill, and Lil Dicky on the same song. That would be.
You know what? I would
Yeah.
actually, that actually sounds like really cool in my head. Like I could actually
It
really
sounds weird, but yeah,
imagine.
that's an expensive song. But
You
hey,
know
it
what?
might happen. Who
That
knows?
is an expensive song. Like
Yeah, that would be pricey. But yeah, that's the answer.
what's next for you?
Well, okay. I guess there's a lot of things that I'm working on, but the main thing I guess that is already out there is doing another project with Crypt, where we plan to do that when the album that we have out right now reaches 1 million streams on Spotify. Right now it's at like 800,000, something like that. So we should probably start the album soon. But I've had like a little creative block recently, and I feel like when I try to force music, it never comes out the right way. I'm sure you know what that's like when you try to
Mm-mm.
just force it. It doesn't click. To be honest, since we talked about it, like a female cipher is something I thought about hosting.
Okay.
So, and obviously you'd be invited to that, but I need to make sure, I want to make sure I'm getting people outside of the YouTube community because I feel like there needs to be expansion done here. And I want to make sure to get like rappers that no one's ever heard of or seen or something like that. I'll try to get some like heavy hitters on there. I might not have as much pull as like Crypt does, like when he got like Mercules and Futuristic and people like that on a cipher. Like that's pretty crazy. But
Hmm.
you know, I think I'm willing to deal with the stress of doing that sometime in the future. But um, those are kind of like the two main things besides just wanting to put out more music. Um, and there's other things behind the scenes that I can't talk about. They're not collabs or anything. They're just things I just can't talk about. Uh, but in terms of what's going to be taking up most of my time, probably making those songs with Crypt, and of course still doing the Papa Do podcast with him, expanding on that. But yeah, the YouTube cipher, their female YouTube cipher is something that I have spoke with Crypt about because I kind of wanted to run it by him first because he's the one that started the ciphers and doing them. And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, yo, how would you feel if I hosted a cipher? And really, I guess I didn't have to do that. It's more just, I don't know. I guess because I work with him on the ciphers, it felt like the right thing to do. But I feel like anybody should just, if anybody has an idea like that, even if someone already did before, you could credit them or whatever, but it shouldn't stop you. You should,
Mm-hmm.
go forward with what you're doing. But, um, but yeah, that's the answer there.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm looking forward to everything you got going on. Hopefully, we'll work together too in the future. I think we can make that happen.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely, definitely.
shout out your socials.
Oh yeah. So basically, it's pretty easy. It's Lucky Boy Nato, Nato, on pretty much everything: Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Although on TikTok, I do Mr. Beast raps. I rap about Mr. Beast's videos
Hmm.
on there. Yeah, I don't know anybody else that does it, and it just seems to work on TikTok, so I do it up there. Facebook is Joey Nato Music. Snapchat is Lucky Boy Nato. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right. Well, there you have it. Thank you for joining us today. Make sure you guys follow him on all his socials. Check out his music. Check out stuff he's produced for all his stuff, all his Jewish. Let me know what else we
Thank you.
should who else we should interview here on the channel. And I will see you guys next time.